So we're here today with Cindy Rinne to hear about what she's been up to since she last showcased at the little gallery. That's awesome. How was that last show?
How was that show?
Yeah.
It was fabulous.
All right.
It would, they have such a small space. There was, I think, 4 artists, but they always make it look good. Eric just is great at designing the space. And so, it all goes together. Each artist, has a voice. And I like that, I got to do a poetry reading, so I'm also a poet. And then my friend and I did a performance as a fundraiser during the show. Mm-hmm. And so I like that they do a lot of different things. They always have beautiful brochures. They're doing books. So they also take it beyond the walls. So I just really like the little gallery sparking, the arts in downtown San Bernardino. I've lived here since the 80s, and I know there's a lot of talent in this city. And so, I also know that like one spark can start a movement, and it was really getting going before, the lockdown, but it will continue. I mean, they painted a mural, not the gallery, but in the area. They supported a mural, and they're doing a book, and they've been posting some artwork. So I know that things are happening behind the scenes.
Yes.
And I guess that would be the same for me. I'm kind of working behind the scenes.
Well, what have you been? What have you been working on? What's your current project? I should ask.
So my current project is I'm doing a theme. I haven't set on the title, but I'm hoping to have a solo show in Claremont in January.
Right on.
We'll see how things go, but it will happen at some point. And so I just decided I'm home. Let's get started. And I want to combine, because I do art costumes, and I also do wall pieces. And so I want to have a mixture. I can see the show in the space already, but I didn't know this theme was going to happen. And what's kind of, and it has grown out of this time. I'm looking at a midnight garden, moon, roses, bats, moths.
All right, that's what's up.
So I've learned to go with the muse. I don't even understand all of it yet, but so I've been buying, fabrics and charms and different things to go with that theme. And you can see I have roses on.
Yes, very beautiful.
So I've done a little bit of artwork for that. I'm just getting going. Then before that, right when the lockdown happened, I did a series on bees. And I'm not even sure why that happened, but I have been bees.
What was that?
Because there's been a shortage of bees, and if we don't have bees in our ecology, we have a big problem. So I think it just came back because I was really bad like a year ago, and so I now thank them for being in my garden, and I'm just happy that they are coming back some. But started working with the bees. I'm gardening. The garden's important to me. Not sure. But again, following the muse. So I will be designing a wearable for that. I'm in the process of designing for that. Cool. I've made 5 pieces already. So you'll get to see those later since the lockdown. And I think for me, it's been a time, to be at home, really think about my art. Yeah. And think about it as a show. So as I have several things on my design wall, I can start to really think about how is that going to work together as an exhibit. Because a solo show, they should tie together. I get to, what I like about solo shows is I get to create the whole environment. I mean, I love doing group shows and do that a lot, but every once in a while, you get to have the whole space to yourself. So you're really, creating the whole room, in this case, one room. And, it's a lot of work, but I like to do that once in a while. And so really with this time at home, I feel like I can picture it more because usually I would be running around a lot. But I enjoyed that too, and I miss it. I had a book launch that got postponed because of this, and have a new book out and poetry
Do
with
you
my
have a
art in it.
copy of the book?
I do.
Yes.
Right
Oh,
here.
Letters Under Rock.
And I have 2 new books that came out. This one I got to
awesome.
launch, but this one didn't get to launch yet.
Okay.
Which will include a performance. And I really don't want to do it online because I'd like people to be there.
Yes.
So
was that
new
the
books?
performance you were telling me
Yes,
about?
we did for the little gallery, but we
yes.
didn't have the book launch yet.
Got
It
you.
was scheduled for the end of March, and of course that didn't happen. And
Yes.
art exhibits keep getting postponed, which is a little frustrating. I get all excited that I get to get out again, and then bam, we're closing down.
Yes.
They will happen. It's
Yes.
nice. There's gallery people that they're being very flexible about not just canceling, but saying, we will do it later. So I'm fortunate that there haven't really been a lot of cancellations. It's been more just push it back. But in the meantime, I have had a lot of virtual art exhibits.
Right.
And I've been having virtual art openings almost every weekend, or an interview with a gallery or something. So that's been very nice because I create new work for them. I'm still getting it out there, even if I'm not physically there at an opening. We're on Zoom together. People are still getting to see what I'm doing and see my name. So that's still in front of people a lot going on that way. With poetry, you can do some open mics and different things like that. But I've done this weekend, I'll be doing a demo of how I work.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yes.
How'd you get connected with that?
A friend that I met with, a year ago in Santa Monica, and nothing happened. And then she asked me if I wanted to do this. And since I used to speak to quilt guilds all over the state of California, I'm used to doing demonstrations. So I think it'll be fun for people to see, how a little bit of how I think and how I work and put it together. So that's going to happen. And last weekend I was interviewed through a gallery. So they're really trying to keep things going online. Made a few sales online,
right
which has been really nice.
Yes,
yeah, surprise.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, as far I'm as busy as ever. It's just the idea of, I haven't been to LA since March, and for me that's very unusual. I haven't been to the beach. I mean, there's so many places. I've just gone to the desert a little bit. So it's more the psychological idea of not being able to go. Summers here are hot, so I do tend to stay home more. But I could go if I needed to or wanted to. And so that makes it different. But it is usually a time where I, am working. And so, just adjusting. And I'm really seeing that it seems like we're going to be home for a while. So I'm thinking about, how to go forward online. What do I need to do to make that work better?
Doing
so
that.
So this interview is another example. I mean, it's just great to have these opportunities to still be seen and heard.
Yes, and it's pretty awesome that we're able to do this, during this time.
Yes.
You mentioned quilts. Do you have some samples on the table right over to you?
Should I hold them up?
Yeah.
Let's
have a look.
Okay, this is the newest that was supposed to be delivered to LA, but it got postponed because LA is not doing well. But this is part of the night series. I don't know where to hold it. It's called Totems.
You're doing perfect.
Totems in the Everyday.
What? Okay. What gave you the concept, or how did you see this in your mind's eye?
I just started with this fabric here with the trees, love birches, and found this figure. I have lots and lots of fabric, and so finding things can be like getting something new I haven't seen for a long time. This is from a friend who actually went to Japan.
That's
but
awesome.
I've had it for a while, so sometimes I'll have things for years before I use them. And I just started adding, the moon, because that's the series I'm working on anyway. And I like birds. Birds happen a lot. So this is, the nighttime. I'm working with shears and layers. I like mystery. There's a person at the bottom that appeared way later on. But there were more and more animals that started coming into this. And I decided to extend the trees out of the middle space. And so they just started looking like totems to me.
Yeah.
And this will be in a show in LA one day.
But it's cool what you said. Yeah.
Even the backs are important to me. So I've got, the moon is on the back too.
So it's not just a bland back.
Oh,
there is
never
and
bland on the back.
That's interesting that, it's what was the title again? Totems?
Totems in the everyday.
Totems in the everyday. Yeah. I like that you have aspects. You have the moon. You have that little lion that came from Japan. You have the trees. You have the person. And in my opinion, people could see these as totems. Someone that likes the night or is more of a night person. That's kind of like their thing, as well as with the lion. And the person that's down at the lower left, people could be seen as that totems being like, like a totem. When I think of a totem, I think of Native Americans.
Yes.
And
the animals.
Exactly. And you
have to look closely to find all the animals in there. So it's important in my work that there are discoveries and there's veils, and people that own it will say to me, I've had this for several years and I'm still finding things, and that makes me happy.
That's beautiful.
It's a journey.
Yes.
And you can also see the piece's narrative. I'm a storyteller. I write myths. I write, ancient present. And so the art also, you could write a story out of that piece if you wanted to. So I like narrative. Asian art has inspired me since I was a child, and the scrolls tell a story as you go up, and so I work in that aesthetic a lot, even the shapes, and sometimes but this is the idea of story. Kind of a funny art story I was in college, and we were doing perspective in a drawing class, and I'm drawing. The teacher comes along and she's like, no, that's not perspective at all. And I'm thinking, but I see like Japanese or Chinese, the Asian, and it goes from top to bottom to top, whatever, but it's flat. Yes. It's a different way to see. And this is how I see. And so eventually, I did learn how to do perspective because I was teaching and I needed to be able to tell people, but I still don't see that way.
Yeah, that's very true.
It's layers of story. So I have most of the B series here with me.
Yes, show us more.
So I'm going to start with the first one. Let's see, I'll just do them in order. Okay, so it's another larger piece. So these have been in online shows. This is called Whispered Steps. And there's hand embroidery in here, vintage lace, beads. My friend dyed the silk. So there's beads across the top and just plants. Oh, and I did the printmaking at the Garcia Center for the Arts. I did this.
That's cool.
So just integrating.
And it's inspired by bees.
By bees, the bees. So this is another one, so you can kind of see the series, the smaller piece, but similar. But then the black pattern showed up, which I really like. Just made it more dynamic. This is Nigerian lace from a friend, local artist. People do give me things because they know I can use scraps. So more bees.
When you're quilting and you're doing all these, like, definitely you could see that there's a lot of layers to this.
Yes.
Do the layers kind of come as you work, or do you have kind of like an idea in your head that you're going to, and then maybe it may change throughout the progress of the work?
I usually gather some fabrics together and have a pile and just start cutting and collaging and seeing what happens. Like I said, this black, so the black and white piece didn't happen till way later on. I was almost done with the design.
Yeah.
And then, but it just, I love the punch that it gave.
Yes,
so,
it did. I feel that. My eyes can pick that up. It's nice.
Vintage trim. I have lots of trims and laces. And upholstery fabric. So I've been given a ton of upholstery samples because they would end up in the trash. So I have lots. So a lot of these pieces are the heavier material. Yeah.
Upholstery couches, correct?
Couches, yes.
That's what's
exactly.
Up. Very,
That's
very
all
versatile,
this,
very strong.
Yeah. Can be used for pillows, couches. Yeah.
That's
is definitely
awesome.
all upholstery. So I have, a lot of vocabulary. I say if I can stitch it on, it goes on, whether by hand or machine. If I can put it on there, that could happen.
It's going on. That's what's up.
Yeah, it's going on.
Cool.
And I sort of had some fun with the back. It's jellyfish, which are not bees, of course, but the colors.
Yes.
I like the colors, and
definitely.
Like I said, the backs are important to me too.
As it should, because then that starts becoming more in the round rather than just only one side.
Well, and there have been people every once in a while who will hang them like a room divider kind of thing where you see both sides, because on the back you can really see the quilting.
Yeah.
So you never, and I've had that happen in exhibits where they're hung in the air. So I want the back to look good.
Yeah.
You don't know.
That's a very important.
Curator's gonna do.
Yes, that's very important to consider is how it's going to be displayed and how curators will display them.
That's right. So they have options.
True. Now tell us about this one.
So this is another one of the bees. I bought another fabric of bees when I could see that this theme was going to keep happening. But this one brought in more color. Yes. So this is why series are kind of fun to do, because they change and progress. And so now we've got more color. I have more hand embroidery. Really was the beginning of this piece.
Right on. Was
the working by hand. And as I was working with the bees, I found out more symbolism. So I actually have it on the back. So whoever purchases this will have this information. The title is Grieve and Reach Peace, which I thought was an unusual title, but I knew to stay with it because this is for someone who needs this message. But the bees, so the bee's honeycomb represents the heart chakra. In China, the bee appearing with the monkey and butterfly speaks of prosperity. So I had a monkey. I won. And I knew beautiful. I had this monkey, and I have a butterfly button here. And depicted with bamboo, the bee brings abundance. And so there's bamboo. And Hindu tradition ties bees to rebirth. And then I have different qualities of the bee. And the back has the bamboo. So I don't always go that in depth with the symbols, but I do like researching. I do like getting the deeper meaning of the topic. So by now we've got the bees being healing. So this is a new piece in the bee series called Everglow. I don't even know if that's a real word, but that's the word that popped in my head. And you can see kind of the scroll format happening.
Okay. Cool. Is there, do you have any other projects that you're currently working on?
Gosh, I have this too. So I just finished this for a show that's at the Beatnik Lounge in Joshua Tree. Another scroll, but this is part of the, we'll call it Moonlight series until I get a name for it. And so the Moon and the Roses. I have this is from a vintage kimono, and it's very thick. This was very hard to sew on the machine, but look at the dimension it gives.
Yeah,
so this too, the rose. So it adds dimension, and again the layering with shears, and then I've got a hand dyed, hand crocheted. I do a lot with the hand crocheted. I think that's a little bit of, the feminist, the woman's hand, even if I don't crochet, but I have a lot of pieces that I'll use.
Yeah.
And just, kind of the history. But
Crocheting's
there's the
really
moon.
cool.
But I did a little of my hand stitching in here. And
Well, that's
yeah.
rad.
Yeah, and there's some coral and some different stones. So that's why you have to get up close.
Definitely. Once
And then I
everything
have
opens
lots
up.
of midnight roses right here.
Yes. Yes. I don't think this camera will capture the beauty of it.
Oh.
It's something that should be seen in person.
There's a sheer here, so then on the wall it makes a shadow and it sparkles on the side. And then on here I have a little bit cut out. And sometimes I'll do a lot of that. So I can make different shapes. They don't have to be straight. I can do whatever I want.
That's what's beautiful. I can do whatever I want with it. Yes.
So I'll just share. I'm taking an online class. It's really not my favorite thing to do because I'm a people person, but right now it made sense to do something online in the summer. And so it's a combination. It's a writing class, but it has a lot of art in it. We're studying a lot of outsider art, and I knew that when I took it, so I figured, well, art and writing, that's both of what I do.
Yeah.
So putting
Makes
that
sense.
together, I've been making some art to go with the writing. So the red circle.
Tell us a little bit about it.
Would you like me to read this
Yes.
poem? Because
Yeah.
I think it's powerful. I can do this. So it's called The Cycle of Incarceration. And it's a poem that I put the words together from different writers and friends and made it into a poem. I alone tread the red circle. All I want now is my woman back, so my soul can sing. The body is the offense, guilty of nothing but its born color. The query beneath them was, why are you alive? Circling as hunters aim down on me while you rise, rise, rise into the blue sky and meet me over in the next fields. This circle will be powered by my breath in hard sunsets, blood that flows black in the streets. And how many children have to bleed? Nothing, weeps nothing, dreams nothing, but my soul wants to sing. And the last line are the words on the artwork. My soul wants to sing.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Just the times.
Right.
I don't often write political poems or so straightforward political poems, but right now there's a lot going on, and
right, there is a lot going on that has
it's important.
Manifest, yes.
Yeah, it's important to me. We were discussing earlier how civil rights was happening, 40 years ago, and I was a young person, and it's heartbreaking that we're still having the same discussion. But I'm hoping this time someone's listening.
Yes, I hope so too. I hope a lot more people are listening.
I hope a lot more people are listening, that there will be some change.
Yeah, there will be. But that's what's up. Well, that's pretty exciting to see what you've been working on, cooped up in your studio.
Yes. A lot.
Yes, no, that's good.
I've done a lot in my studio.
Well, I just want to say thank you for letting us come in and record you and hear about your new projects that you got going. It's pretty exciting. Thank you for listening. Like I said, it's exciting to still be able to share, even though it's in a different form. Yes, in a different form. I'm still happy to be able to, share what I'm doing and hopefully encourage others. I know some people have had a difficult time creating, but for me, it's part of dealing with it. Yes, it's therapeutic. It's creating. It's therapeutic. True. But everybody's different. Yes. But even if you watch this and it makes you, feel a little more creative and encouraged, then that'll make me happy too. And eventually the work will come. Yes. Well, once again, like I said, thank you. Thank you.